How might the Godfather movies help somebody understand what John's Jesus means when he says, "The Father and I are one"? Hundreds of years after the gospel called John was written, Arians and Athanasians used the text to answer questions it simply was not composed for. So they recontextualized John in order to answer metaphysical questions about Jesus and God. And for the Athanasians who won out, God and Jesus were metaphysically one. Jesus was consubstantial with the Father. But that theological evolution was not what John's Gospel actually said. Instead, John was thinking about Mediterranean patronage, like in the Godfather movies. In the same way that the broker Tom Hagen grants access to the patron Don Vito Corleone. So Jesus, the broker, is relationally one, in this sense, with the God of Israel. Jesus is broker like Tom Hagen is broker. Jesus is the door or the gate, just like Tom Hagen is the door or the gate. Jesus is the authentic way, the only true way to the patron God of Israel, just like Tom Hagen is to Don Vito Corleone. You can't get access to Don Vito without going through Tom Hagen. Well, according to the Johannine Jesus group, the same thing applies to Jesus and the God of Israel. And folks, when you think about God as Father and Abba, please forget about American Daddy. That's just a wrong picture. It's culturally inappropriate. Nothing like that existed in the fathers and patrons of first century Israel or the whole Mediterranean world. Instead, think Mediterranean Godfather, Don Corleone, without the criminal stuff. Think patron. That's what the New Testament authors have in mind. Also, the fourth gospel is obsessed with group cohesion. John has too many expressions that say the same thing, and always expresses this central concern of his. So, eating Jesus' flesh and drinking Jesus' blood means the same thing as welcoming Jesus, accepting Jesus, receiving Jesus, believing into Jesus, abiding with Jesus, following Jesus, loving Jesus, keeping the words of Jesus, and so forth. All of this expresses the author's main concern, group cohesion. It's saying the same thing. Stick together. Forever emotionally embed yourself into the Johannine Jesus group. That's what John chapter 13, verse 34 is all about, folks. The new commandment. Really, that is what the whole gospel is talking about. John has too many expressions that mean the same thing. This is very typical of an anti-society's anti-language. By the way, just so people don't misunderstand me and these presentations here on YouTube, by no means am I insisting that these culturally informed historical critical understandings constitute the only understanding, the only reading of what John is saying in the famous John 14 verse 6. Nor would I dare claim that what I am presenting here is the final understanding of John chapter 14 verse 6. No. However, I must insist that this is the first understanding, because Mediterranean culture is the first reading of Scripture. Not the only, not the final. There are many more readings that follow, but it is the first. And let's get the beginning right.